Dragon Ruins 2 Aftermath is a standalone expansion of the series. Overall, it is very close to base Dragon Ruins 2, but with more of what you already enjoyed from the base game. More playable characters, more maps, more loot, more of that fantastic Dungeon Synth soundtrack. But the advancements and changes Aftermath makes turns into a fresh experience that could have easily been released as Dragon Ruins 3, with just a little bit more added. For those of you not in the know, the Dragon Ruins games are dungeon crawlers, in the old-school tile-based sense. You build a party of adventurers and take on jobs from different quest givers, gaining level ups and loot. But the twist is that the games are designed for tired people who just want to relax, but while still enjoying that dungeon crawling loop. A lot of dungeon crawlers can feel punishing, but Dragon Ruins, though it has setbacks and will easily wipe out your party time and time again, is meant for ease of play. Most notably, the combat is automatic. I've never been a big Autobattler fan, but in Dragon Ruins it feels really good. Though it is automatic, the feeling of battle flows differently due to the advancements that you have made through your level ups and perks, as well as your equipped weapons, armor, and trinkets. And adding to the more cozy gameplay of Dragon Ruins, a party wipe doesn't mean death or reload like most other dungeon crawlers. Instead, you appear back in town and just lose some of your XP and money, which is easily regained. The point of the game series is to give you that dungeon crawling fantasy, but without the minutia of having to micromanage and number crunch, and lose massive amounts of progress over and over. That type of dungeon crawler has its place for sure. I really enjoyed them too. I've even covered the first Wizardry game on the channel. And these more hardcore, traditional dungeon crawlers can become cozy too, with time and familiarity. But Dragon Ruins is cozy from the get-go. The fantasy of going into a dungeon with a group of companions and afterwards relaxing at the local tavern together, sharing your spoils, is probably a near universal fantasy for every nerd out there. So in Dragon Ruins, just do it. Or, well, there isn't actually a tavern in Dragon Ruins. Games like this assume you're going to be filling in the blanks with your imagination. It is giving you the simulation of the dungeon crawling, the combat, the loot, and getting more powerful. But you have to make your own story, even if there is flavor text here and there. Just like you're gonna have to be imagining the battles yourself. The gameplay is that you enter the dungeon and walk across it, watching the battles play out. The only real thing you're having to do is keeping an eye on your party's health and choosing when to flee or stay. My own overactive imagination always pictures these battles as they play out, the brilliant character and enemy art doing the heavy lifting. Dragon Ruins 2 did introduce a united attack mechanic. Everyone in the party attacks in a barrage, and you have to do this yourself rather than it being automatic. This, as well as your choice when to flee or continue, are your only real actions when dungeon crawling. But it is really engaging despite the fact that your presence is relatively passive. And traps also mean that exploring isn't as simple as just going wherever. Now for what is new in Aftermath. Well, while exploring the dungeons, there are more than just traps to look out for now. There are also hidden doors. These don't show up on your minimap and can only be found by paying attention to the environment and looking for their silhouette. These are great. I already enjoyed the minimalist but still stylized look of the dungeons before, and this gives players a more concrete reason to pay attention to everything and appreciate the design. The inclusion of a new perk, Architect, also lets the tiles across from you be added to your map automatically as you move, meaning it helps a lot with uncovering these hidden doors too. Despite them not having the door icons, if you notice that a wall that has floors on the other side of that wall is there, but no door, that probably means that there's a hidden door nearby and you need to look for it. Inside the dungeons too are new optional boss fights. Back in town, there's a wanted board with unique bounty hunts on them, detailing what they look like and their danger. These offer another way to get money, and also just more to do in dungeons, since these bounties have to be found by you. Nothing will point you towards them until you find their tile on your map, marking their door with a new icon. Boss fights in general also feel stronger in this game, which I appreciate. Attacks that hurt your entire party, or several of them, feel more common, and vice versa. The constant attacks during boss fights make it feel like an action-intensive scene is happening. The loot system has also been overhauled. There are two new types of weapons, greatswords and spears. And in addition to them, there are now more subtypes of weapons that do more specific things. For instance, within those greatswords, there are different styles for different situations. ones that do area attacks, targeting multiple enemies, others focused on guarding so that you get hit less, and more all-rounders. This exists for every weapon type and gives you a lot more customization for making your character's fighting style feel unique. And even the flavor text of what they are, being real weapons like say a short sword being called a gladius, or a great sword being called a montante, adds something to that. In Dragon Runes 2, the weapons followed a more straightforward upgrade system, following a +1, +2, +3, the only unique weapons being ones that added status effects or slayer abilities. And while this upgrade system and these enchanted weapons still exist, the ability to find a new subtype of weapon is far cooler than it just simply being a +3. In Aftermath, you'll also be getting a lot more loot in general. Loot, introduced in 2, felt more scarce, but here you will get many new items every single dungeon delve, and this feels really good, even if some of them are unenchanted trinkets. It feels better to get a variety of loot than just a coin number going up, with a very rare occasional item drop from a chest or enemy. There are also apparently cursed items, though I didn't come across any during my playthrough. The quantity of loot also makes a lot more sense, since Aftermath has systems in place to encourage you to swap between party members. Swapping was present in the other games, but I never found myself caring to do it. But now, this amount of loot means that we'll have enough trinkets, weapons, and armor left over to outfit an entire guild's worth of people. And indeed, that is what playing Aftermath felt like to me. In my head, I felt like I was playing a mercenary guildmaster, sending out different groups of adventurers on different quests. It made a very satisfying experience, seeing them all forge their own unique styles. When starting the game, you make a party from 4 people, but the rest of the choosable roster is still available after that point. And in a very cool new mechanic, some quest givers join you as party members after you complete their quest, expanding your guild roster with new and unique designs. I remember thinking in the second game that I wished a certain design of NPC was able to be my companion, and now most of them can be. For the first big downside though, I feel like the character perks in Aftermath are less interesting than in 2. In particular, the priest's heal ability was heavily nerfed, going from healing the party for 1 HP after killing something, to now instead only healing when you pull off a united attack. Most perks characters start with is a very basic effect. This person can stun enemies, this person can deal bleeding damage, etc. And since every level up your character gets a new perk, and these level up perks are the exact same that people start with, it just didn't feel all that special. The main thing you will have to differentiate between your characters is instead their stats and items. You don't make choices on level ups aside from the perks, but their stats increase automatically depending on their class. So finding which class's natural bonuses lend themselves well to specific loot is the main form of manual progression. Some weapons scale damage based on several stats. So if you find a powerful weapon that, for instance, scaled only on strength and magic, but none of your current party level both of those at the same time, you can scour your roster and find someone whose main stats do level both of those. And then, boom, you just got a very powerful person in your party who you were never using before, all because you happen to find a perfect weapon for them. The main gameplay system to encourage swapping between party members, though, is an exhaustion mechanic. Party members can get hurt and exhausted in the dungeon and need time to rest. Well, I say need, but the game doesn't force you to take them out, and you can be a little bit cheeky and just enter and re-exit a dungeon till their exhaustion goes away. But I think going along with this mechanic is a very fun way to play the game for the aforementioned reasons. Play into that guildmaster role, and let your wounded party members rest while you test out someone new. The people who remain in your roster while other people go out still do level up as well, though at a slightly slower rate, remaining a level or 2 behind your main party. There's also an option to pay a bunch of money to just level someone up without having to get their XP to the right level, which I really enjoyed as an optional leveling choice. I did tend to go back around my main chosen party, just because I'm a sentimental dude and I grew attached to them, and again, that role player part of me viewed them as the initial founding members of this guild. And their designs are also really cool. I mean, the Lord looks like an even more twinkified version of Elric of Melnibone. And having a character titled the Lord as my mainstay made sense to me. A lot of people in the previous video pointed out that the character designs are from a project called Wizardry, a Java-based wizardry-inspired dungeon crawler and maker. The specific art is from a talented Japanese artist named Torio. Some people, for whatever reason, viewed this as a reason to condemn Dragon Ruin's own originality. But I think that's silly. Torio put the majority of their art out there for use in commercial projects for free on purpose. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that great that someone's art can be used by so many people and enjoyed by them and help spirit their project along? Dragon Ruins is almost a completely solo project. All the dungeons, gameplay systems, and music made primarily by Romanus Surt. The use of the art is ethical and is a boon to the game. Not AI slop, not stolen, just used with permission. There are many more things added in Aftermath that really help tie the experience together and make it feel like a direct upgrade from the second game. Little small things like the ability to pay a mage to give you a choice between 3 boons before entering a dungeon. This was a great choice to help with particularly hard roadblock levels, giving you that extra little boost instead of having to just rely on grinding. Some of my issues with the first 2 games, like the ballooning prices of potions and warp scrolls, appear to have been tweaked and fixed as well for the better. The United Attack meter feels more useful as well, charging up faster, and the heal effect it does, as much as I miss the old one, makes using it far more useful. The new dungeons are cool, some using new tile sets, but also seeing the return of tile sets I loved in the second game, like my beloved Haunted Mansion set, is great. Each dungeon, rather than giving you a new quest like before, gives you an upgraded, harder version of it, fixing my biggest problems with the original game, encouraging you to replay through these levels. While there are many new dungeons, several of the base Dragon Ruins 2 dungeons return too. As a minor issue, I would have liked if the quest text for them changed, since it feels a little strange to have the same flavor text as the base game, even though the setting of the game is meant to be like dozens and dozens of years later, with the queen you were serving in that game dead. But that is such a minor problem when the levels themselves are great to return to. Reusing dungeons in a remixed standalone expansion is completely fine, and not only that, encouraged. Because for one, it gives you more content, and 2, it feels nice running new mechanics through old experiences, making them fresh again. The Dungeon Synth soundtrack, as always, is fantastic, probably the biggest highlight of the game, to be honest, and it's insane to me that the same person who developed the game also made these music tracks. Overall, I'm very happy with Aftermath. It is a very solid addition to the series, with mostly great changes that make the experience feel more polished. And most importantly, it makes you want to experiment with more of the game than you would have in base Dragon Ruins 2, especially with switching between different classes. If I had to recommend whether to go with this or 2 first, I'd still say go with 2, even if this is the better gameplay experience. It is a better experience largely due to the comparison of understanding the base game, but if you watch this video and a specific added mechanic exclusive to Aftermath intrigues you more, it isn't like these games you have to play in order. If picking this up looks like it'd be better for you, just do it. The games are all at affordable prices though. When they're not on sales, the first game is only $4.99 USD, and Dragon Ruins 2 as well as Aftermath being priced at $9.99 respectively. For the amount of content you're getting, that is insanely worth it to me. If you haven't yet, by the way, check out my review on the other 2 games, or some of my other videos on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and thank you especially to my patrons. On the Kindred Eccentric tier, Fred Greisen, Kushana, and Mateo Feo. On the Wise Hermit tier, Andrew Raver, Kamihog Yuji, and Tired Cass. Thank you all for your support. I hope you enjoyed this video. If anyone else watching also wants to support me, check out the Patreon. I have a few exclusive videos on there and other extra goodies. More stuff to come soon. This has been your Resident Eccentric, and I will see you again. Farewell.
A little bird told me that you've been asking around town about a resident eccentric. I'd like to know why.